talk to you a bit about Harvey Weinstein, who you represented for some period of time. You had, during your representation, implored the press to distinguish between criminal behavior and bad behavior, right? How important is it rather for us as a society, as a civilized citizenry, to draw that distinction in every criminal case?
Well, that case is also unique. And one of the reasons, I withdrew as counsel for Harvey. I mean, he and I developed a very good relationship, but I think he would, just not listen to me. I mean, at some point, the words he used is that, he believes that he needs to be represented by a quote skirt, close quote, because he wanted a woman to be, his principal lawyer. And, I said to him, there are only a handful of lawyers in the United States who I know who have, earned their stripes as a criminal defense lawyer. And he went out and, hired this woman who I never knew. And once I met her and tried to, help her, I mean, she essentially rejected my help. And I think she thought that, given the testimony in that case and given the emails that I got, through, forceful litigation with the bankruptcy court, and we got those emails. I think the case should have resulted in an acquittal. And I think, to be honest with you, she can claim however she wants to that she did a good job in that case, but Harvey got a 23-year sentence that he's currently serving. So I don't know how many cases where you claim to have won where the defendant ends up getting sentenced to 23 years in jail.
That was one of those cases where venue was sought to be moved and it wasn't. And the standard these days seems to be very high for that to happen, even in cases such as that one, where the media presence was so strong. Do you think there are ever cases where, particularly recently, those kinds of efforts prevail?
Well, assuming a change in venue was granted, where could you try Harvey Weinstein without getting, a complete, overwhelming media presence? I mean, in that case, you could go to Peru, and that case would be front page, and you probably get more coverage in a different jurisdiction than Manhattan. I happen to think that Manhattan is probably one of the best cases to try a case. You have a lot of liberal people in Manhattan. You've got a lot of people who really believe in the presumption of innocence. And the two, women whose testimony the jury relied on in that case, to me, it's stunning that he got convicted. I'm not suggesting that Harvey is a good guy, and I'm not suggesting that anyone who is, is part of the morality police, which we are not, couldn't be offended by what Harvey Weinstein, did over his life. But the two women that, testified in that case who, condemned Harvey's behavior and ultimately 23 years in jail, I mean, to me, it was stunning that he was convicted because the testimony that was available for cross-examination was so overwhelming that it was remarkable to me that they were convicted. And also, quite frankly, remarkable to me that the cross-examination technique of the principal lawyer in that case was aggressive and got these women to start crying, which is certainly not the way, I would have approached the cross-examination. There are different speeds for cross-examining people, and you don't really have to, beat somebody up to effectively cross-examine them, especially people who are viewed by the public as quote victims, close quote, and emotionally infirm. But the principal women in that case who accused Harvey of misconduct were, emailing him love notes before, after, and even during some of the offensive behavior. Plus, one of the women, as I recall, right after she claims to have been raped by Harvey, emailed him that same day because her mother was in town and she wanted Harvey to meet with her mother. And, I would have argued, well, how many rape victims do you know who, after the rape, would feel good enough about inviting their mother to meet the rapist? But, beating the woman up in a tough cross was, in my judgment, a mistake.